This is our second interview of the Macedon Rangers Bowling Club members. Today we have Brian Smith, who's been around for quite some time. And I'd like to ask Brian first to give a little introduction of yourself, who you are and whatnot.
Well, I'm Brian Smith, and I've been a member of the bowling club since about 1995, I think. And Dave Clements talked me into going down there for a practice one day, one Thursday, and then the following Thursday I went down again, and he handed me a pair of white trousers and said, "Well, you're playing on Saturday down at Diggers Rest." So that's how I got into bowls.
So you didn't really get much choice.
No.
You're playing whether you wanted to or not.
That's correct, yeah.
What division were you thrown into?
I think we were 3, yeah. It could even have been 4, but it was the low division anyway.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
At least it was a lower division and not like Division 1.
No.
So how'd you go in your first game?
I don't think I went all that well, but I played with Dave and he was skip, and so he didn't mind. He pulled me out of all the problems I'd given him anyway.
From memory, David was a life member. Am I correct? Yeah.
Yes. He was It was one of the original members that started the club.
Yeah.
When after the fight, the '83 bushfire.
Yep.
And they got together and decided they'd form a club and more or less built the green, and the clubhouse was the now clubhouse was the fire drop-in centre after the fire for people who lost their home.
Yeah. Awesome. So you've only ever played for Macedon in your whole experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go. No, fair enough. Did you play other sports before?
Oh yes, yeah. Cricket, soccer, judo, tennis, things like that.
Very athletic.
Well, yes, but when I got to Melbourne, I worked for TAA and it was shift work, so I couldn't join any team games. So it was after I retired that I started with bowls.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. There we go. What would you say has been your best on the green memory of?
Probably Dave Clements and I winning the CHBA pairs.
So for those that don't know what CHBA stands for?
Central Highlands Bowling Association.
Which has now become the Ballarat Highlands region. For, again, people who don't know, the borders keep changing.
Yeah, that's true, yes. Yeah.
I'm guessing you've seen a lot of changes in your time.
Yes, yeah. Well, in membership and standards, and the quality of the green has become much better than it was initially. I can remember opposition players mentioning that they were sick of playing on a cow paddock and things like that with a ploughed field, but now the green is quite reasonable.
Yep. There we go. That's a lot of thanks to Gary Dickinson. No.
Yes.
Gary. I'm so bad with names.
Norm Hughes, Graham Hobbs, and other people who looked after it over the years.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So winning the pairs was quite a highlight.
Yes.
What about off the green? Something that in the bowls.
In the bowls thing, I don't remember much off the green. I can't think of anything much in the bowls.
No great memories of past exploits and deeds.
Not on the bowls scene, no.
Yeah. What, you've got a life outside of bowls?
Oh, yeah. I'm afraid so.
Oh, damn. Why didn't someone tell me sooner? So what would you say was your biggest challenge during your bowls career?
Now age has caught up with me, and I now can't bend down easily, and so I've had to use a bowling arm.
Yeah. And
the transition from using the hand to the bowling arm is a bit of a challenge.
It's quite a different skill, isn't it?
Yeah. And I haven't quite mastered it yet, I'm afraid.
It's just practice, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing how much each new piece of equipment changes what you already knew and perceived bowls to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It always makes it more interesting. we've always all had what we'd consider our best game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Discounting the win with you and Dave Clements,
Yeah.
what would you say was your best game? What made it the best?
Um, oh, probably when we won the um, we won last year the midweek comp, and the final, winning the final of that was good. Beating Gisborne's always good.
Explain the rivalry between Macedon and Gisborne for those that don't know.
I just have a rivalry because I know several of the Gisborne players anyway, so it just becomes a personal thing, I guess, really. Yeah.
In my time, like obviously I've only been at the club since Christmas last year, but in my time there, almost every member has this desire to come up against Gisborne and beat them.
Yes.
It's
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't always win, but it's nice when we do.
yeah. um, so, as I mentioned before, the bowls scene, the bowls community, there's always changes. I was talking with Rosemary about how the vote, whether or not to let women play with the men and whatnot,
Yes, yeah.
that like 20 odd years ago. What would be some of the biggest changes you've seen or even participated in?
Well, the fact that we do play with women more often now, I mean, in the past we've almost had to because we've been short anyway. Well, we still are in some respects, but so I guess it's become more, especially the midweek game has become more friendly because the women are there and. There's not quite as much swearing as there used to be. So that's one of the good things, changes, I think. Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in mixed sex games, and women can bowl just as well as men on the whole and everything. But throughout my experience, I've seen a lot of sexism. Not to put you on the spot, but are you happy with the changes, or have you?
Oh yes, yes, yeah, I am.
Yeah. I was just curious.
That's fine.
Good answer. Right answer. um, the clubs has some characters in it, from my experience. To there's a lot of teasing, ribbing, all that sort of thing. All good natured. I haven't seen really any major animosity or whatnot between members. Who would be some of the most interesting characters you've experienced?
Well, one of the most amusing was actually a little bit before my time, but we used to have a man called Keith Moore who was helped with the greenkeeping. And he was an elderly man. And at one stage, I'm told, he was playing lead, I think, with Graham Hobbs. And he rolled the jack down and then picked up his bowl and he said, "Where's the jack?" And somebody said, "It's at Hobbsy's feet." And he said, "Where's Hobbsy?" he couldn't see. His eyesight was failing. So that's one of the more amusing incidents that I've heard of. But yeah, there's been. Well, it's a friendly club, and so it's always been quite a happy club, I think, and yeah. So that's really all I can say. Really.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Would you say in your time playing the bowls, you ever got up to any mischief or played any practical jokes on any of the members?
Not that I can recall. No, I'm not one for playing practical jokes.
And you don't want to admit to it yet because they still don't know about it.
No.
Fair enough. If you could have your time over, like from the start, what would you change about your bowls career?
I'd like to be better at it, but that's. I think I've had a reasonably good career. I mean, I'm getting on now, and your skills fade, I think, as you get older, and as I say, the change to the bowling arm has decreased my skill, although I'm trying to improve with it, but I don't know whether I am or not. Yeah, I get some good ones in and some very bad ones,
Yep.
but that's it.
Would you say you've met some really good friends and people at the club?
At the club and at other clubs. Yeah, I think it's a very friendly sport. Mostly, it can get sort of a bit uh, when it's getting towards finals time and that sort of thing. It can get a bit. I'm not searching for the right word here, but serious, shall I say? Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas most of the rest of the time, it's have a laugh and a joke on the green, and then go and have a drink afterwards, and another laugh and a joke. It's good.
I'm a big believer in playing for fun and
Mm-hmm.
enjoying the game,
Yes,
but it does get me in trouble when some people are more competitive than me.
that's it. Yeah.
um, and the final question I get to ask everyone. So for those that what might be watching that haven't played bowls before, or they've only just started playing, why bowls?
My bowls. It's a skillful game, which if you don't play it, you don't realise how skillful it can be. Um, and it's a friendly game. It's you get to meet other people and talk to them, and other people who have other walks of life and that sort of thing. So I think it's just friendly and very harmonious mostly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today,
That's a
young
pleasure.
Brian.
Pleasure, Shane. Thank you.
Awesome. And have a wonderful rest of your season.
Thank you. You too.